Okay. Peace Tribe. I was having a little bit of technical difficulties getting on here. This is my first time going live on IG. Um, so I'm just waiting to see Shofar for him to show up so that I can add him as well. Hope everyone's having an amazing day so far. Okay. Peace. Okay, I'm just waiting for Shofar to show up so that we can just get this going. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Maybe I could do a little sound bowl. I just need to take a deep breath. That felt really amazing. Okay. Peace, everyone. Peace, peace, peace. It's a beautiful day out today. Okay. I see Shofar now. I have to figure out. Okay. He's requesting. I'm waiting for Shofar to join me. Thank you, everyone. Yay! I hear
Hey,
him.
peace.
Peace. I hear you, but I don't see you.
Can't see me? Okay. I can see you. I can see myself, but
Okay, there you go. Hey.
hey, peace. Is that Zanetta?
Peace. How are you?
I'm feeling good. No question. No question. How
Good.
about
Good. I'm feeling wonderful. I had to just do a few woosahs. This is after work for me, so I had to take a few deep breaths and just get centered and ready to jump into, a different mode, a different vibration. But I'm ready.
I love it. Yeah, yeah. Cool, cool. Yeah, so coming back out the matrix, I know it's that adjustment sometimes. So thank you
Yes,
for doing that. That's a big jump. I appreciate you.
absolutely. I'm ready. I'm ready to make whatever adjustment is necessary. So it's all good. How
All
have you
right.
been?
Things are good. It's a lot of good things going on in the midst of these challenges that we're collectively facing, individually and collectively. And so
Absolutely.
like there's a clarity for me mentally like never before, the mental clarity. The emotional thing is like the highs and lows are very interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much just for thinking of me and inviting me to do a live with you. This is my first time doing an IG live, so you kind of pop in my
Oh,
IG cherry. So thank you for
yeah.
that.
I am more honored. I am even more honored now.
Yes. Okay. So this was you extended the invitation, so you can kind of let me know how you want this to flow.
Yeah, well, so I think it'd just be conversational. I know I want to talk to you about some of like what you have going on, and then as well as what I'm doing. So I think that just basically forming a sacred energy exchange, and then also those of us, those family, the fam Elay that is on here, if they have any questions as we're talking or whatever, they
Mm,
can chime in too. So it's a
okay.
collective thing.
Yes, let's do this. I love collective.
Yeah, so I think first off, like sacred energy exchange, like I use a different acronym that's similar. So tell us about the sacred energy exchange.
Okay. Sacred energy exchange is where sexuality meets spirituality. And it's a platform that I created about 4 years ago. Um, Started off as a panel discussion. Um, the topic would be different. I know like the last couple times we really kind of focused on the female orgasm because I know that that's a great subject because a lot of women that I talk to, they're not having them. They're not having orgasms. So there's a lot of discussion centered around that, like, why, like what's going on, what are those blockages, what's keeping you, from yourself. You know what I'm saying? There's something going on with you, within you, that's keeping you from just tapping into that sacred part of yourself. So, and I love that we have men on the panel as well, and women that can just share their experiences, just the way that men are able, that we need our men to hold space for us to feel safe, to let go and to go within, be able to tap into that part of ourselves, and, you know, just let go and just just let it happen. And so, but it's been an amazing journey the past 4 years, just talking about different aspects of sexuality and how it's more than just, I feel like people are too just lackadaisical about it, in terms of not truly understanding how powerful that act is when you're joining, you know, with another person and being intimate with someone in that way. They really take it for granted, just what you can do with that energy. So I love having conversations centered around that, and just the healing that comes from it between man and woman when they are just exchanging that energy, that yummy energy together, and just sharing that sacred experience.
Love it. That yummy energy. Okay.
Yummy. Yes.
Yeah, no doubts in that. I hear you on that, and I feel you. I feel like one of the biggest travesties of our current human experience is that we do that with sex because we do that with life. You know, we don't take a moment to look at the sunset. We don't take a moment to taste our food. We don't take a moment to feel the silk on our body or the cotton on our body. Like, we are numb as fuck. And no doubt it goes into the bedroom. You know, it only could. If we got two zombies, you know, me gonna have some zombie sex. You know?
That part. Yeah. It's true. Just we're very disconnected from ourselves and from each other, and just numb. I like that you use that word. We are numb and desensitized to so much. So I really think it's important to understand just the sacredness of that act.
Yes. You know, and I love that you say about the sacred energy exchange, because to me, a part of that exchange is the breath, is coming back to coming in, you know, bringing the breath and the awareness of the breath into the bedroom. There's a big thing about, we take like 20,000, the average person takes 20,000 breaths a day, 20,000. Now, if we start missing a couple, then we'll notice the breath. But other than that, we take it for granted. And it's that sacredness of even the breath. It's no small feat that that we're taking in oxygen, and then it's going into our blood, and then it's that the oxygen molecules are going onto the blood cells. That's no small feat what's being pulled off with each breath.
Right. Absolutely. Or even just breathing properly. I remember, you know, probably 6 or 7 years ago when I just learned how to breathe properly. Most of us are just used to shallow breathing, you know what I'm saying? But just to learn how to breathe properly and to just share that exchange of breath with your partner. I mean, that is just so powerful. People think of it as a small thing, but that breath of life and that exchange of that is so very, very powerful. And then you can't stop there. What about when you set intentions on top of it? Woo! You know, that's just even more powerful. It's just,
Right. Yes. One of the 7 Hermetic principles, the first one that kind of trumps or holds the space, makes the womb for the rest of them, is that the universe is mental, that the universe is awareness. And so when we set intention, when we take our that divine spark, that divine will of ourself, and say, I want this to be so, and we do that with a partner. And we do that with some zest, some the breath and everything. It's powerful. That's magic making.
Right. That using that. I mean, I feel like that's one of the greatest things. Because for me, when it comes to the sacred sexuality, sacred energy exchange platform, I always bring, I don't consider myself to be an expert in that. I'm an expert on me and, you know, like what I like to do or whatever, but I don't consider myself to be an expert. So I bring, you know, people that are, you know, that's more their lane, their expertise. And I've learned so much, but I feel like one wonderful thing that I learned, I don't know why I just lost my train of thought just now. Oh my goodness.
Like the energy exchange and who you bring in, and you
One
know,
powerful lesson, I was saying, one powerful lesson that I learned, and then my mind just went boop, blank.
you just had a memory of it.
So many,
It,
yeah,
it was so
it's been so
orgasmic, it made your mind
there's
go
so many
crazy.
memories. Yeah, right. It was that powerful that, yeah, my mind just went blank. I mean, like completely blank. That's really weird. But I feel like, okay, so something that I know I was gonna say something really powerful that I learned. Oh, that's what I was gonna say, is you learning how to utilize that sexual and orgasmic energy, you know what I mean? Like to manifest when you and your partner, you know, just like I said, really set that intention and you get together and use that powerful orgasmic energy to manifest something. Oh my God. I mean, that right there, mm,
Well,
that's a
this
whole
universe
nother
is,
level.
you know, is a lot of these forces of nature, the Orisha, the Devas, they call it the Orisha in Yoruba, they call it the Devas in India, they call it the Neter. Um, these God forces are waiting. They're
Yes,
waiting for us to tell them what to do and to put them into
yes,
action. So
yes.
in that beautiful, powerful place of sex, we get a chance
Mm-hmm.
to really make contact with them, and when we get the mind to kind of take a back seat and relax a little bit, now we can have full-on conversation with the forces of nature. So that's one of the reasons why sex is so powerful.
Yeah, yeah, it is absolutely. And then even when you start, you know, you start talking about this subject, so you think about all of the different like the guilt and shame associated with sex, you know what I mean, like that keep us away from tapping into that power, religion and things like that. Or if you've been through let's say sexual trauma, been raped, molested, whatever the case may be, that just further disconnects you from yourself and further keeps you away from tapping into that magic. So I love that, you know, like those are topics that come up as well, very necessary topics. And even myself, like when we would talk about like sexual trauma, it wasn't even anything that I saw myself as having, but just through studying and having these conversations with other people, I started realizing like, oh my goodness, I have some blockages myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I suffered from sexual trauma, like an incident that happened to me as a child, and just some incidents that happened like surrounding date rape. You know what I mean? And I had some blockages that I too had to work through. So I feel like you do like in studying sacred sexuality, you are healing yourself on many different levels, you know, when you're just having these very necessary conversations.
For sure, for sure. That stuff is still there. You know, sometimes when we've had these different incidents, these different you know, occurrences in our life, and like you
Yeah.
said, to bring our awareness to it, and then be able to start to, you know, frame them in a different way. That's one of the powerful things of sex. That's what creates the healing that comes from
Yeah.
sex.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Bringing that awareness like of those triggers that you may have, but you don't like understand the root of what those triggers are. So yeah, but those conversations definitely bring all that stuff up, but you do have to be open to the process. You know what I mean? Because sometimes people get triggered and they'll blame the other person or blame a situation, but they don't want to look within and look at themselves. Okay, this trigger is telling you an area where you need to be healed. Let's dive in deeper there and see like what you need to work on, what energy you may need to release, or what conversation you may need to have with yourself or with someone else even.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, I think relating first with ourselves and then with another, relating is one of the most powerful tools we have to do self work. You know, our partner or partners are reflecting back to us different things, the things like you said that trigger us, the things that the dark corners, the places where there's cobwebs, our
Yeah.
relating, shines that stuff back to us.
Yeah.
And when we have powerful relating, though, we can get intentional with it. Like, okay, we start to see these blind spots, we start to see these dark corners, and now together we're working on them.
Right. Instead of running away, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Instead of just breaking up or whatever, when things get rough and you get those triggers and things like that. Yeah, it is important because your partner is a direct reflection of yourself. Those things that irritate you, like so much, you need to look within yourself and see what that is within you, that's triggering you and irritating you, and see what it is within yourself that's irritating.
I agree. I agree.
So you said you use another acronym for sex. What's the one that you use?
So I love Sacred Energy Exchange. What I like to use is Sensual Emotional Exchange. And the reason for it, because when I was writing my book 3 years ago, I was really trying to figure out, like, I like succinctness, and I like to I was trying to get people to get what get something very succinctly, very, very potently. So I kept playing around with it. In Sensual Emotional Exchange, the sensual is the physical body, of course.
Right.
The emotional component, which a lot of times is left out of sex.
Right.
That, okay, the man, if we're talking about heterosexual sex, and of course it can be all these other forms too, bisexual, transsex, like all of the human being family is invited, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But start talking about a heterosexual relationship, the man penetrates the feminine or the woman, and on the physical level, on the physical plane, but on the mental and emotional plane, or the emotional plane, the feminine is looking to penetrate the masculine, and that's where we drop the ball a lot as the human being family. We're dropping the ball where the woman's love, the woman's the insights and all of the feelings that come from the woman that would actually make the man even more vibrant, make him evolve. That's not happening. The man is being penetrated. So Sensual Emotional Exchange, the reason why I use that acronym, and then the X is for the consciousness, is for our awareness, is for our breath. That's the X factor.
Yes. I love that. I love that. And yeah. Would you say that it's the man having a hard time, like, dealing with that feminine side of himself?
Yeah, there's a lot of shame, and we're not just talking in this lifetime. We're talking generational, ancestral shit going on, where there's generation after generation after generation of men that have been told not to feel,
Yeah.
and been shamed for feeling. So we can have definitely a lot of compassion for us men that don't feel and don't want to feel.
Right.
Not including mother wounding, and there's so much that a lot of the masculine body people on this planet we have to unpack. So that's part of the masculine's journey, is to take a look at these things, and there's definitely this breastplate, this thing that makes us not want to even go there.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I just want to just speak on you as an individual, just how much I greatly, greatly appreciate you and your divine masculine energy and just everything that you bring. I remember probably about 3 years ago when I was, because I was doing my little sexual fast thing. And I think that was the first time that I did it. Yeah, I had my sexual fast for 6 months. And, it's like you and I hung out, and I just appreciated you just holding space for me in the place that I was. You know what I mean? It's like we hung out, we enjoyed each other's company, and we just had a really good time. And I felt so just safe and taken care of with you. And I didn't have to worry about you trying to, because I was in a very vulnerable space. You know what I mean? I didn't have to worry about you trying to take advantage of me or trying to hit on me, trying to kiss me, trying to touch me, just none of that. You know what I mean? You were just very, very, very much respectful, but, we still had an intimate connection. You know what I mean? But it didn't, like cross over to being anything inappropriate or, physical or like anything like that. So I have to speak on that. I appreciate that because that hasn't been my experience with all men. You know what I'm saying? Because others, they would take advantage of a woman that's in a vulnerable space. So I just say that I want to say that speaks volumes about you and the man that you are, and your heart and your integrity. So I just really had to say that about you, simply because a lot of my friends recently have been having these conversations about like going to male healers and having these terrible experiences with them taking advantage of them. And I just wanted to speak to you, you know, and just say how much I appreciate you and the space that you held for myself. And I'm sure that that's just the man that you are. I mean, I could just tell the way you talked about your sisters and just other women around you, like you just hold space for women, and that's just beautiful. And I appreciate that within you.
Shay, I appreciate, thank you, Queen, for seeing me. I appreciate you on that. Yeah, shout out Water, Her, and Jen Darling. I saw y'all just jumped on. Shout out to y'all. Yeah, you know, and that's been a journey for me to be able to be in that space, Zanetta. Like, you know, it's my journey as in high school and my early 20s of being the nice guy. So there would have been a time where I would have totally been like, oh, you know, because so goal oriented, right? The masculine is goal oriented a lot of times, and it's like, oh, you hung out with her, and you remember we went to like the springs and everything, and had this magical. And for me not to have sex or to even go to first base or any quote these bases or anything, right? And yeah, and to be able to keep doing my work and unpack that. So I appreciate you seeing that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, real recognize real. And I just, like I said, in the times that we're in and the conversations that I've been having recently, I have to just, you know, put that out there and say that about you, just how much I greatly appreciated that about you. And just to let women know that have had those negative experiences with men as well, you know, that there are some amazing and beautiful men out there as well that are doing this healing work, you know, surrounding sacred sexuality, and they're not taking advantage at all, or, you know, like just doing anything inappropriate with women that are in a vulnerable space, coming to them for, you know, like any type of healing or just holding space for them. So yes, thank you again.
You're welcome. You know, and that's something for the brothers out there for us to all unpack is I think sometimes we can feel when a woman is in that vulnerable place, right? We can if we have a little bit of attunement, and I noticed that I started noticing that I think in my teenage years, when I could see certain things in a woman's eyes, and I know that there could be certain things that I could say that would make things go a certain way. I think it was a lesson in this, and it's for a reason that in this journey, based, I guess, because of what what I'm here to do. I have 4 younger sisters. Right. Plus seeing my mom having certain interactions with my father, or lack of interactions with my father and my sister's father. So it always kind of put this little thing in the back of my mind, like, don't do that, bro. Don't do that.
Right. You know? Yeah. Yeah. See, I love that. And that's what I like to talk to men about. Like, you have sisters, you have daughters, you know, a mother, aunties, cousins, whatever the case may be. I just feel like when you're with a woman, in the presence of a woman, treat her the same way that you would want someone in your family to be treated, you know, like show her that same love and support and respect that you would want someone to hold space for, you know, one of yours, or someone that you have an intimate relationship, or a relative or something like that. Because I feel like not enough men do that. So that's why I mentioned that as well with you, like how you always spoke so highly of your sisters and things like that. And I just see you as a man that treats women in general like that, not just someone you have a close relationship with, but you just hold space for women, you know, just for the divine feminine. And that's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
So tell me more about your book. I know you invited me on the live, but the book that you wrote a couple years ago, I mean, that was an amazing accomplishment. Let's talk more about that.
Thank you. Sacred Orgasmic Living, Soul. So that book was my attempt to start making the energy work. I've been doing it professionally since 2014. I started learning about it in 2002 from some other powerful men and a woman I actually had an energetic experience with. But I started doing it myself 2014. And 2017, I wanted to put something together that could actually help people start to learn more about it. And so that's what that book's Soul Sacred Orgasmic Living is about. It's going into sensual emotional exchange and explaining what it is some more, and then also looking at DNA, divine natural awareness, our consciousness, and what role our awareness plays in sex. And then also a big one, Zanetta, is our false belief systems. You know, because
what was that again? Would you say?
Systems, our false BS.
False belief system. Yes, right.
Because there's a lot of things that we believe about intimacy, that we believe about sex, that isn't quite real or right or true, and it limits our sensual expression.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Peace out.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, that has a lot to do with just the society that we live in and just the thoughts and feelings around sexuality. You know, you're taught that it's something for you to be shamed about, or, you know, you're not supposed to enjoy pleasure. A woman is not supposed to enjoy sex. You know, she's a hoe, or there's something wrong with her. You know, a little girl, you know, she's a little fast ass, or a teenager, you know what I'm saying? It's like there's so many, it's true, there's so many negative connotations when it comes to women and their sexuality, you know what I mean? Especially, you know, like young girls, you know, you hear that in the family, just talking about, oh, her little fast ass, or just whatever you might say. But yeah, we have to just start having more of these conversations and build more of that awareness about what this really is and just how sacred it is. And even in terms of choosing partners, you know, like we really have to start talking about that. And just the fact that there's no such thing as casual sex, because there's nothing at all casual about it. You know, there literally is an exchange of energy happening at that time. And you have to be mindful of who you're choosing to exchange energy with, because they're leaving an imprint of their energy on you. You know, like when that session is over, it's not over. They're still there with you. And you can even just, the more you spend time and are intimate with someone, you can just even see some of their characteristics, you know, like coming out in you. It's just bound to happen. That's what it is. It's a very powerful act. Your souls, your spirits are connecting, you know what I'm saying? And that's what goes down. And you have to be mindful of who you are allowing to come into your space, into your aura in such an intimate way.
I love what you said there, Zanetta, and for the family, for us to think of it like this, is like I saw this other woman, Eva Clay. She said something like, because she was talking about female clients to come to her like, oh, you know, how can I disconnect sex from, you know, or not get attached, you know? Mm-hmm. And then she would, the woman, the sex therapist was like, well, what's wrong with being attached? What makes us think that there's something wrong with being attached? Like, this person was just inside of you, you know?
Inside,
like,
all the way up in there.
all of that, you know what I'm saying? And yes, for us to really unpack that, and I think especially for us as the male gendered heterosexual men, for us to really take a moment to feel the sacredness of it, is like our body is going inside of this woman's body. That's a big act.
Yes,
you know,
it is.
Then when we start to have the sensual emotional exchange, Zanetta, that I was talking about, where, okay, and now as a man, I'm being vulnerable to allow her heart energy, who she is as a being, to be up inside.
Yeah.
You know, I'm allowing my sacred space up in here in my heart area, you know, that may have been, you know, damaged in some way with my relationship with my mother or with the feminine in general. So I'm making myself vulnerable with my emotions for this woman to penetrate me. That is no small act.
No, not at all. But, you know, like I said, people just downplay. They downplay that act way too much. And, you know, it happens all the time. But I'm glad, you know, just like I said, people like you and myself are just bringing more awareness about, you know, like what it truly is, and just being more mindful of the partners and the company that you keep, you know, in general, in terms of that, because yeah, it's a lot deeper. You know, I feel like even us right now, we're just really scratching the surface in terms of that, in terms of what, you know, like that act really represents and what it is.
Well, another way to think about it is it can possibly bring another another consciousness or consciousnesses to the planet. Like
Yes, that's
if
how
the woman is
powerful.
ovulating and if she is receptive at a cellular level with her ovaries,
Mm,
another consciousness can come to
yes,
this. That's
yes.
powerful.
Yeah, exactly. That's extremely powerful. Like you can bring forth life. And but you are constantly you're manifesting in that act. You know, you are manifesting something, you are giving birth to something. It's just like I'm always talking about women in our wombs. Like our wombs, we're giving more, we're giving birth to more than just babies from our wombs. And it's the same thing, like people think about, you know, like when it comes to sex, all you're doing, you know, like you're fucking and you're coming, you're having an orgasm, you're having babies, but there's much more to the act than just doing that. There's so much more that can be manifested from that act. There's so much more that you can give birth to through that. But just the fact that you can give, you know, like create life, I mean, that right there in and of itself tells you how powerful and magical and amazing that act is.
Right. You know, something, if we knew more about energetically and spiritually who we are and how we work, we would be so empowered because you have the womb space here, and then we have the heart womb space. You know, we have the four chambers. There's
Yes.
four chambers in the heart. You know, and so that is a womb space too. It is literally a space. And when the feminine of any of us goes about and we put our mind behind something or our emotionality behind something, we are helping something to gestate. What I mean is, like, for a woman or women to go out into the workforce back in the day and start working for these different corporations
Mm-hmm.
and these companies, that was womb space being taken up by the feminine to help these men to bring these things to fruition, to bring them to this third dimension and give birth to these things. There's always the womb allowing these things to be birthed.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I love that. That was a great analogy for that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and so,
So,
oh, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
I was just going to say I love. I see you online sometimes with the gathering of women, and
Mm,
I think that's so important because I love that you call yourself Sage Sisterhood, because
yeah.
there is a power that has been lost by many women, unfortunately, kind of being ostracized or cut off from their sisterhood, from their tribe, and
Right.
a lot of the healing that I feel like women are looking to, that womb beings, I don't like to say womb men, I like to say womb beings, that
Mm-hmm.
womb beings are looking for from men. Yes, the masculine, and also for themselves, but also their sisterhood. There
Yes.
needs to be the sisterhood to keep the accountability to cry on the shoulders
Yeah.
and heal. So I love that you call yourself Sage Sisterhood and that you're about sisterhood. Can you
Yeah.
speak to that a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. Um, I birthed Sage Sisterhood in 2012. It was a time when I was just seeking healing and just seeking a tribe of sisters, you know, that were on the same level of consciousness and awareness that I was on, that were trying to heal themselves. And so I created the space for Sage Sisterhood. You know what I mean? I really just wanted to gather women together so that we can love and support each other, be the sister that we each of us need, and to pool our resources and share different tools for healing and that type of thing. So I started having womb circles and workshops, panel discussions, and retreats, just gathering all these, you know, women together. And it's been a beautiful journey. You know, it's been a beautiful journey, the way that we show up and hold space for one another, or when we don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, there's that accountability part, and you have to have those conversations when your sister isn't being a sister. And you have to call her on it, you know what I'm saying, and have those difficult conversations. But it's okay because nobody is perfect. We're all here on this journey trying to better ourselves, and iron sharpens iron, you know what I mean? So it's like we can do that for each other and with each other. But having a sisterhood, it's been a very important part of my healing journey. Just having my sisters to fall back on in support of me and to love, and like just to pour so much into me and just assist me on my healing journey, and for me to be that for other women as well, to mentor the other ones, or like be that mirror for the the ones that are my age or whatever the case may be. But it's very necessary for all women to have some type of sisterhood, some type of tribe. So just for that support, because of all that we go through in life, we need that support from our sisters. So that's how and why I birthed Sage Sisterhood.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, and it's very much needed. So much power with you on that, because for all of the reasons that you just said, and really we need all of the healing that we can get. We need it from all of the different angles that we can get that motherfucker right, so it makes sense to get together too, and to have each other's back, and to call each other out, like you said, when you're not being a sister.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to do that. I know that we live in the cancel culture, you know what I'm saying? Like when something ain't right, you're supposed to be savage. And no, I feel like we don't need any more savages. We need more sacredness, like more compassion and that type of thing for each other, and we're all healing, just different areas of our life. So if a sister is not doing, or just someone, is not doing what it is, giving you the support that you feel like you need, for the relationship to be reciprocal or whatever the case may be, it's important just to have those conversations. Because I know in the past, if I would just kind of maybe have a falling out with someone, I would just not fuck with you. I would just be like, I don't even know you. I'm not messing with you anymore. And that's just that. I just dead it and it's over with. But now I find myself having those conversations now. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm willing to help a sister improve herself and help myself improve myself, because like I said, we're all reflections of each other. So maybe there's something that's going on that's a reflection of what's going on inside me. So I need to help her heal a part of myself that I'm healing within myself. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense, Zanetta. And to me,
Okay.
everything that you said there to me is reflective of our patriarchy. It's reflective of this amputation culture.
Yeah.
If a motherfucker ain't working, real quick, cut it out. And
Yeah.
cut it off. And no doubt there's a divine power in that. That comes from the divine masculine energy that is in all beings. When I say divine masculine or divine feminine, we're talking about energies. We're not talking about genitals. We're not talking about men. Female, we're talking about energy that flows between all beings.
Right.
But that divine masculine part that's been overstated. Yes, it is a divine faculty, to be able to, like a samurai, to bow at his enemy and then chop his head off. That needs to happen sometimes. But in our culture, we've overstated that energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So yeah, there was the Sage Sisterhood, and then through Sage Sisterhood, I birthed tribal waist beads, right? So tribal waist beads, that's a return to ancient African culture and tradition and sacred adornment. So with that, I use waist beads, like I said, just to get more in touch with our ancient African culture, as well as using it as a healing tool, because I use crystals and stones on there that can be utilized for various different things depending on what stone it is that you're working with. And so I love sharing that as a tool with other women to help them on their healing journey. And that's been a beautiful journey as well, just connecting with so many different women. My process starts with a consultation, so I really appreciate the fact that women will see me as a safe space to share their stories and their journeys with me, so that I can create a crystal prescription, so to speak, with the waist beads on what could best support them, like at that stage in their journey. So that's been beautiful as well.
Very powerful. Yeah, I think sacred adornment, is so important and so needed, because there is this aspect of the feminine that wants to be adorned, that wants to be seen, like
Yeah.
the sacredness of a flower. You know, like it does all of these different things, you know, to be seen, you know, and
Yes.
the nuances of the feminine, that she paints her nails a certain way, or that she has certain earrings, uh,
Mm.
the blush over the. I noticed for so long as being a dumb man, it's these little subtleties that I didn't notice in the past. And then as I became more and more awake to life, and I started noticing the life around me and its subtleties, and the mother and all her subtleties, and I started to notice the subtleties of the women around me more. And I'm gonna
Yes.
tell you, fellas, the more we do that, the more orgasmic the women get because they
Hmm.
want to be felt and seen.
Yes, yes, we do. We definitely want to be felt and seen. And that's why, and I feel like, and it's important to wear like when we are, just like adorning ourselves, as you can see, like I wear a lot of active jewelry. Like for one, I wanted to put on this lapis lazuli, just to open up my throat chakra and make sure that everything that I'm communicating is, just very fluid and clear, and that everyone is receptive to what it is that I'm saying. And so I'm able to like tap into my ancestors and hear what it is that they want me to speak, and say and share. And I'm wearing my crystal quartz earrings, just for like clarity and focus. It didn't help me a lot in the beginning because I lost my thought, but I was able to come back to it. You know what I mean? But just wearing all these different crystals and stones, and yeah, it does. It just activates, something within you on a deeper level. And yeah, it's very powerful.
Maybe they work too well. Maybe they were working. They just worked too well. They cleared that motherfucker out. You didn't even, you couldn't think of the thought.
Right. Maybe that's what it was. Just went blank, like, okay, what was I saying? But yeah,
Crystal quartz.
crystal
So,
quartz. Yes.
no, I love that you do that, that you make that for the other women. That's and another thing about that too, Zanetta, is that the art of or the I like to call it heart work, because it's interesting that the word heart has art in it. I don't think that's by accident. So
Right.
that you that heart's work of making beads and stuff, and there's something to be said about expressing ourselves, um, our originality, you know, and not
Yeah.
just wearing something out the store, but making your own jewelry and
Yes.
or buying it from you. If you don't make it yourself, if you don't have that quote unquote talent, which you do, because the word talent has the word. If you take the letters around and flip it, it's latent. So we all have latent talents in us.
We do.
Another brother pointed that out to me. Raul Nefer Amin. He was like, the word talent. If you take the L and put it at the beginning, it says latent. So we
Wow.
all have latent talents.
We do.
But
We do.
but let's say if you don't have the talent at the forefront to make your own clothes or your own jewelry, I love that you go to your sister to buy something. So that's powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we do. We do all have that latent talent or that creative energy within us, to create some form of art. But, like a lot of us haven't tapped into that part of ourselves. We're so distracted and busy, 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 and, don't want to sit down and be still and see what we could like, actually create and come up with. Because yeah, we all do definitely have that within us. And maybe sometimes it's just lying dormant, within us, but we all have something within us that we can definitely create that others would appreciate. So yeah.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, and that of itself, again, if we talk about SEX, sacred energy exchange, as you call it, to expand what we think of as sex, you know,
Yes.
just genitals meeting, like that is even the waist beating or cooking a sensual meal for your partner or for yourself. This is all sex. This is so when we start to expand what we think of as sex, then we can start seeing like, oh wow, there's so many ways to play with this energy. We can
Yes.
never get bored at that point.
Right, exactly. And even like to just the waist beads, like men find the waist beads like very seductive and alluring, like, and even when a woman looks at her own naked body, it's just like, oh my goodness, when you just look at your body and you're like seeing that adornment on your body, it just it awakens something within you. I just, that's a feedback that I get from a lot of my clients, and I just feel that myself. Like I feel completely naked when I don't have my waist beads on, and when I have them on, just like to prance around and just kind of hear I'm making that little noise when I'm naked, or just looking at myself in the mirror with them on. It's beautiful. Yeah. And it definitely does. And even in ancient times, like women would wear them. That was one of the reasons that women would wear them would be to be seductive and to bring that excitement into the bedroom, like with their husband, just to entice them, and it works. Yeah. They look at those like, what's that? Like, come here, girl, come over here. And, so.
Get over here.
Yes. And if your waist bead creators made them strong enough, like the ones I make, you can yank on them, and you can't get too wild and crazy, but, you can just give her a little yank, like, get over here, girl.
Got it. Love it.
Use it as a harness a little bit. Yeah.
Bring her in. All right. I see.
Yes.
Dope. One of the family out there said we should just take a moment to breathe with the family. So let's do that. Let's drop in all the family out there. If you're in a space and place that you can feel into it with us, let's do 3 deep breaths. But we're going to do a variation of pranayama or breath that is called the warrior's breath. And that's just a strong in breath through the nose, and then a released out breath, a casual or very soft out breath. So strong in breath through the nose.
Okay.
And then release softly through the mouth. You can let some sound out. Ready, open your eyes again. But you can feel just in that 3 breaths, you can start to feel the energy, the tingle in your body.
You do, right? That was a good idea. Who suggested that? That was right on time. I love that. You do. When you just bring that life into your body in such a way, it just brings you back to life and rejuvenates you.
Which is especially important in these times that we live in, where there's so much emphasis on the breath right now with the virus or so-called virus, depending on what your views are on that. And then also with, the things that happened with the brother George Floyd, and then we walking around saying that we can't breathe. I understand where it's coming from, but that's not the chant for us to be saying.
No.
That's in my opinion, is that and I know you're conscious. You see this too, or maybe you might see this angle as well. Like that might be some spell casting, and yes. We don't need to be putting that out there into the womb space. We can.
No, our words are too powerful. Why would we be chanting, I can't breathe? No. I remember I went to a protest, not intentionally, but I just kind of ended up at a protest because I was at a park meeting someone and I couldn't find them, and there was a huge protest going on. And I was like, okay, let me just, join in and see what this is all about. And then they're chanting all these different things, Black Lives Matter, and, just like the different names of everyone that has passed at the hands of police brutality. And then they started, like chanting, I can't breathe. And I was just looking around like, no, I'm not about to like join in on that and say that. Like, do you not understand how powerful these words are that you're saying? And you're saying, I can't breathe. No, we can't do that. That's very disempowering to chant those words. So we really have to stop doing that and making it trendy, putting it on hats and t-shirts and stuff. No, beloveds, we got to stop doing that.
I agree with you, sis. And no, fuck all of that. They took these people's lives, and one of them, like the brother Dave Chappelle said, 8 minutes and 46 motherfucking seconds that we see this brother's life being snuffed out. No question. I get where that comes from, but the chant to be saying is, I am breathing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I am breathing.
I can't breathe. Yeah.
and I'm breathing. You still got to deal with me.
Yeah. That part right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, you brought up, this whole pandemic or plandemic or whatever.
Yeah.
These are just interesting times. These are really interesting times that we're living in. 2020 has just been something on a whole other level, I think, than any of us really expected it to be. And it's still unfolding. We're still trying to figure out where we're all going to land in adjusting to everything that's going on around us. And then with these cases of police brutality, I mean, it's nothing new. It's nothing new. This has been going on. It's just that they're more modern times and these things are getting caught on video. Um, but we still aren't seeing the justice, behind what really needs to happen when, someone's life is taken. That just still isn't happening. We're getting these little pacifiers, okay, who gives a damn if they painted Black Lives Matter on a street in front of the White House or whatever that is. Like, that's nothing. That doesn't bring anyone's life back. That doesn't bring any justice to someone's life being taken. I'm not impressed with anything that's happened up to this point. I'm not impressed at all.
I agree. Yeah, no, it's definitely. I feel like so much of the the media and what's going on, I think that it's taking and inverting or distorting what's really going on. Like we call the virus corona, which comes from it's like a Spanish word, I believe, that means like crown. And
Mm.
so because of the way that the virus supposedly looks, it's supposed to be like the crown or the king virus. Um,
Hmm.
how interesting that in these times too, so many people are waking up and that there's a coronation of sorts going on for us as the Hubean family, and more of us are awakening. So on the one hand, I feel like there's a coronation that we're stepping into our queendom, into our kingdom, and we're wearing the corona, we're wearing the crown, but yet the dark side of the force, if you will, takes this stuff and inverts it and distorts it, and so now we have a virus called that. But we see what's going on, and we still growing, we still shining, we still climbing. Can't stop that.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, I mean, it's with everything being shut down, it forces us to go within. You know what I mean? And that can only beauty can come from that, going within all the different, seeds that are planted in this darkness. Like, let's see what's going to manifest from all of this, and we all have to look at that as well. Um, I lost my father right before everything really popped off, so I appreciated, just the shutdown of everything, and being able to telework and things like that, just so that I can honor myself and just mourn and just be still and that type of thing. But I feel like we all were just kind of put on a much needed time out. You know what I mean? To just be still more than anything. And we should continue to do that and be observant. Like, really, really stop watching the news. Like, turn that damn TV off. Stop watching the news seriously, because it's just pumping a lot of fear and, misleading information into your heart and mind and causing unnecessary anxiety and stuff like that. But be very observant. Be very observant of everything that's happening all around us.
I agree. I agree. Yeah,
What is
that
this, bro?
what'd you
Men
say?
to, no, I was just looking at some of these comments. Do you know who that is? Men to youth. I don't know who that is.
Let me scroll up and see a little bit. Men to youth. No, I don't. I said hi to the people. Hey, peace, Megan, if you're still on here. Um,
Oh,
yeah, I'm not very good at when we do the lives at catching everybody that comes on.
I
So
know. I'm not either.
I like to focus on the person that that I'm speaking to and see
Right.
and hear you. So anybody that came on from the channel from Full Show Energy Work, I appreciate y'all.
Yes, and I appreciate all my folks for joining in and joining us too. So, but yeah. But thank you. Again, I appreciate you, Shofar, and just everything that you're doing and working on and working towards, and just the brother that you are, the heart that you have. It's appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you. And same for yourself, sis. I see you. I see what you're doing. And, you know, I can feel your healing journey, and so powerful that you're doing your work and being a catalyst for others to do their work. So I see you and appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, we're definitely reflections of each other. Yeah.
I love it. I think in closing out, because I know time-wise we're about to be at the 1 hour mark, and it cuts off kind of abruptly. So if
Okay.
you'll tell the family what you got going on, and then I'll share what I got going on, and we'd say deuces to everybody.
Okay. Well, peace, family. I do have some workshops coming up. If you do live here in Los Angeles, I have a waist bead workshop coming up early next month. I'll be posting about that, and I'll be doing some on Zoom. I have to start transitioning online just because, you know, people being uncomfortable with meeting, or just others that want to connect with me that don't live local as well. So look forward to that, and I'll be posting it on my page very soon. And yeah, that's pretty much what I have going on. The waist bead workshops, and I did have a retreat, but that kind of got shut down with everything going. But we'll see how the year plays out. I may have that still as well later in the year, and I'll just be posting it on my page. But I appreciate everyone for joining in with us.
Dope. And shout out, I saw someone said they were on here from Australia, so g'day, mate. Thank you for coming through.
Yes.
And family, again, I'm Shophar, and I have a book like Zanetta alluded to, Soul, Sacred Orgasmic Living, Soul. I'm excited about doing coaching for men. I have a program called Chi Up to help men learn about the Sensual Emotional Exchange. I do intimate relating with my love, Kirti. We do coaching, it's called intimate relating for couples. So we teach couples how to do the sacred work together. And then lastly, doing a new online course called Racism. And is using the Sensual Emotional Exchange, that work to unpack racism. Actually, racism is an acronym. You know, I like my acronyms. So A is for awareness. And then R is racism, C is classism, I is intellectualism, S is sexism, and M is materialism. Where are those isms alive in us? We can't put it on society. Exactly. Where do we carry the isms?
Exactly. We got to be real about that too.
No doubt. So I appreciate you again, sister, for making room for me. Shout out to everybody that was on. Y'all keep shining, keep climbing.
Yes. Peace. Give thanks. Peace, tribe.